Absolutely. And I definitely have the partners at my firm to thank for supporting me through that, because you really have to have the support of your professors, people that you're working with, to be able to continue working and still make your clients feel like
Sure.
they are your only project.
Sure, yeah.
And your only commitment, so.
Absolutely. I think your background is really going to resonate with some folks, because there are people in architecture school right now who are probably in the same way not sure that this profession is 100% for them. But yet you've gone through undergrad, master's, a lot of work experience, and come out on the other side, I mean, more bought in than anyone, I would say, by starting your own practice.
Yeah.
So you've gone from I'm not sure what I want to do to I am going to try to be the quintessential architect.
Yeah.
So let's go into the firm that you're trying to start.
Yeah.
Do you have a brand? Do you have a logo? Do you have a differentiation strategy? What are the first pieces and parts that you started to think about to put this together?
Yeah. So my passion for architecture and the thing that I love the most about it has evolved over time, again.
Sure. Yep.
Process of discovery. So as I was doing my master's, working on my thesis, I knew, okay, here's a project. I'm not just going to spend a semester on this. I'm going to spend at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years, working on this one project.
Okay.
I need to find something that I'm really excited about
Sure.
to be able to spend that much time
Absolutely.
on it. So I really honed in on the things that excite me the most about the industry
Okay.
and what we do. And the one thing that I landed on that I was really excited to continue digging into a little bit more is how the built environment affects human health.
Okay.
And through a bunch of research and doing that project, I really landed on mixed use, live, work, and play scenarios that excite me the most about
Okay.
the profession.
I want to get into the weeds of your firm a little bit and how you've grown it and managed it. So we have folks who are really interested in starting their own firms. They're going to come out of school, maybe work for a few years, get their license, and then, as soon as possible, strike out on their own. Walk me through the growth and some of the specific decisions you made in terms of hiring. So it was just you. It was a one-man show for a little while. Mm-hmm. And then what specific position did you hire next? And then what'd you go to from there? And how did you get to those 6 people? What were the decisions along the way there?
Sure. Well, I first want to, I guess, talk about how humble the beginnings were.
Sure. It's good.
I was working out of the extra bedroom in my townhouse.
Yep. No rent other than your living rent.
That's right. And that's a beautiful thing about this business is it's a relatively low barrier to entry in regards to upfront costs.
Okay.
We grew the firm up to 5 people in my house, and my now wife said that's enough.
Yeah.
We needed some separation, and a
Yep.
few years ago we got some office space. But I took it as a real compliment that 5 people were willing to come to my house.
Yeah.
To work.
That's a personal achievement.
They commuted to within DC to our office for some time. My first hire it's such an important hire. Mm-hmm. Because as an architect, you're getting used to not doing every single line yourself. Mm-hmm. And there's so much responsibility when you stamp a set of drawings. So there's a lot of trust there with that first hire. So I was very, very careful about that. And that person's still with me today.
Still there.
Still, it's very important to the company.
Cool.
Then from there, some hires were opportunities of hires of opportunity.
Meaning the person was there and available, and you felt like it was an opportunity to grow, or what do you
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Meaning we were might have been overcommitted, or this person was really good, couldn't pass up.
Yep.
And we brought him on board, and we've had relatively we've been very stable. We don't really have a lot of turnover.
That's great. That's impressive. I mean, 6 people is a relatively. It's not a small firm for architecture. I mean, that's a common size firm, mm-hmm. And I'd say you've obviously done something right, because getting to 6 people takes some success. And 7 years is no drop in the pan either. I mean, you guys are obviously doing something right. What do you You're in a unique leadership role right now as well. You have your practice, we've talked about teaching, but you also do something which is essentially you're the moderator for the AIA Strategic Council.
That's right.
So that's something probably not a lot of our folks even know what that means, what that is, how you got there. So give us the kind of cursory summary. What is it? How'd you get there and why are you doing it?
Sure. The Strategic Council is in its third year, and this comes from the governance restructuring of the AIA.
It's a leadership body of the AIA.
It's a leadership body, and it's the think tank. So what we're board of directors is now the Strategic Council in essence. So I moved there from the Mid-Atlantic region. I was the president of AIA
So
Maryland.
you're already in the leadership
and
track.
sort of came to national through that route. So the council is represented by regional leadership, and what its charge is to really look at both challenges, threats, and opportunities in the profession, and then advise the board to those.
Okay.
And so it is really a think tank. The moderator position, I would liken it to the Speaker of the House in Congress.
Okay.
It's sort of the trying to steer the group, keep it on task, set an agenda, but not really my personal agenda, sort of set the agenda that the group develops. Exactly.
Sure.
So the word moderator is used because it's not quite presiding over. It's
not
really
a
sort
chair
of
position or anything like that.
It's a group of 60-some folks, so we do need someone that's sort of responsible at times for speaking on behalf of the council and those types of things. And so right now we started in January as moderator, and we are working on our deliverables for the board meeting in September. So we have working groups that have been working on a wide variety of things like the life cycle of an architect, the new urban agenda. We're sort of all over the map, and it's really great to see these folks. They go away, and in their free time, they are really putting a lot of effort into thinking about.
Biggest area of personal growth for me, because I'm a one-trick pony. I went to 7 years of architecture school. Essentially, have always been working in the field of architecture. HR is not something that I had much experience with. There are those moments, and as we started with, we try to hire the person, not the job. And so we try to avoid those sorts of situations. Being a small office, however, it is a very intimate space. And I think the times where we have had some clashes, it's when there's a individual who doesn't feel as much a part of the team, or possibly from their standpoint doesn't feel like the team is accepting of them, and when you have that strife, it creates a lot of tension in the office. And unfortunately, what that usually means is folks need to find a better situation for them, because ultimately no one wants to work in a kind of bad work environment.
So
no one should.
Right. I mean, tons of opportunities out there, tons of different scenarios, tons of different environments. So you got to find what works for you, and you got to find the people that work for you. Okay, so we have 4 or 5 people on your team. You're rocking and rolling. You're here in DC. You mentioned you were in your co-working space for 4 years or so. You recently moved out of that into a new space. What'd you find? What'd you get? How'd you find it, and how's it been?
It's been great. The whole commercial leasing piece and all that was, again, an education, but ultimately we got exactly what we were looking for. We have kind of a great home for the team, and we just, we're still kind of working on tweaking and designing some areas of the office, which is fun to do and talk about with team members, because it's kind of like a little personal job and gets people excited. You really see the inner workings of your teammates. We've got some great technology in the space with these 2 smart boards, which we got educated about from a client of ours. And what I've learned is most of your viewers might have come from a time where they had these in high school. I didn't. They're exciting to me. A lot of the folks we bring in, they say, yeah, we had this in school. But they've really radically changed how we work. We're an all Revit office. We've got these we've got a lot of data packed into these models. And what we were finding is we would get to meetings and we'd have to create static content. And that sort of antiquated delivery system was hampering or not allowing us to fulfill our full potential in terms of servicing our clients. And these boards have really changed the way we service our clients. They've also changed just the way that we interact in the office. I find that we're always huddling around these boards, and there's a lot more interaction than there was when we were just, everybody had their workstation and you kind of had to huddle over someone. It's not a great way to give feedback. And so when we can come to a, kind of a neutral place, pull it up on a huge screen, draw right on the drawings, we can really have much more effective conversations about how to revise drawings and present them to clients.